right, Think Twice fans, we are here with a little bit of what I'm just calling basement FNM. So this is a little bit of a get-together of some friends of the podcast here at my house, and we are going to sit down. We're just going to play some Modern, some round robin. There are four of us. You're going to see three matches across this little, I guess, a series here or whatever. So we'll be looking for all of these matches to come out. What we're looking at here is we have, on the left, you have Max with red-white land destruction, and on the right you have Jeff with black-red Cecil, which I believe is a spike brew. So we're just going to walk our way through these and see what these Magic players get themselves up to in the course of their matchup here. So they're just shuffling up right now. Hopefully the video runs a touch smoother than it is at the moment. Apparently running some video playback and recording. Something my computer is not wanting to do at the moment very smoothly. Give it a minute to wake up. It is early on this morning here. So I'm not sure at this point if off camera they determined who was going first or what was going on, but it looks like we've got some shuffling happening, whatever. Maybe some making sure decks are all laid out how they're supposed to be, or de-sideboarded and all that sort of grand good stuff. But anyway, while we're waiting for these guys to get their decks all presented up and finished out, there's probably a little bit of just chatting at the table going on as well, because there are two of us you cannot see on camera. There's no prizing or anything at stake here. This is just some buddies getting together and playing some Magic, just enjoy each other's company, hang out. So we just there were four of us. We decided we're just gonna round robin it and make sure you play everybody once, and we'll just see how it goes. Looks like we're getting some shuffling up going on here. Oh, here we go. Here's the decision maker. Sorry for the slightly choppy video. I don't know if it's the recording or the playback here, but it looks like we did a classic high roll. We'll find out who is on the play here in just a second. I'm starting to think that it's the actual recording was a little bit choppy and not the playback that's happening here. So we'll just have to see what comes the cause of that. Oh, okay. Looks like maybe they're going to pull out a phone. We'll see if we can see that for life totals. It's okay. I might do my best to keep it up at the bottom as well, just so that it's easy enough to see. That phone's just a little bit difficult to make out. Looks like we've got Jeff on the right. Red-black Cecil is on a keep of 7, and looks like Max with our red-white land destruction heading for a 6-card hand. Tell you this, you're gonna see some maybe slightly less common modern cards that we're gonna see here. It looks like we're gonna have Jeff on the play start off with a Fetch Shock into a Nethergoyf. Nice Modern Horizons 3 1-drop there. Looks like he's going to try to keep track of the Nethergoyf's power with a small die that we can't see super well up there, but I'll do my best to keep track of it. It is currently at 1 power. Looks like Max has options of at least a few different lands. Looks like maybe 2 white lands. I can't tell. Maybe one might be a Castle Ardenvale hiding in there. Looks like we're seeing a Cleansing Wildfire, some reprieves. Can't tell what the middle card in his hand is. Not sure. He leads on to Plains. Yeah, I believe that is a Castle Ardenvale that he's reading. Back over to Jeff. Jeff draws Cecil. See that classic blue sword swoop cutting across that card there. Looks like getting for 1 damage. And Cecil joins the battle. We've got a card reader, everybody. Oh, there's me showing off my Cecils too. I was like, Cecil, we're both playing Cecil. Yeah. I believe we were just having some chat at the table about, like, man, a 1-mana 2/3. I'm like, yeah, we've got a 1-mana 6/7 sitting there. Oh, Jeff is going to fetch at end step, it looks like. Grabs a Raucous Theater, gets a Surveil in. Max did follow up his Plains with that Castle Ardenvale. No other plays yet. And looks like we get in for an attack for 3. 16 on. Cecil. Cecil trigger. Forgot about the Cecil trigger. Sorry. 16-14. And a second Nethergoyf. Looks like it's going to get reprieved. That is reprieve, everybody. Return a spell to its owner's hand, draw a card, and then just redeploy. So it's just make it a 2-mana Nethergoyf in exchange for a new card. I believe that is a Doctor Who Path to Exile that Max drew there. Plays a mountain and is considering his options, surveying that battlefield there. I think the general idea of Max's deck is Path to Exile is going to, looks like, target the Cecil. Is that he's just going to strip the basics out of your deck and then make it so that his land destruction effects that normally let you go get a land, he just has so many of them that you're just going to eventually just not have lands to go get, and then he can win eventually with a Flage, or that's about it with a Flage. I believe you're going to see the only creatures he's got going on is Flage and White Orchid Phantom. Is that the white flyer that destroys land? I believe that's what it's called. Video's definitely running slow here. Once again, sorry for the slightly subpar video running here. Not exactly sure why it happened this time. I wasn't really paying attention to the computer while things were going. But, you know, we're a amateurish show. So it looks like attack for 4 coming in. But then the Tarfire. Oh, okay. So we have the Tarfire getting reprieved, the Tarfire being replayed. So that is going to take down there, but then we're going to add 2 more types. So then that's another 8. So we should be seeing a life total of 6 happening here. Oh, yep. All right, I did my math correctly. Look at that. We pulled it off. Follow up with a mountain. Against this land destruction deck, you don't really want to be drawing mountains. Sorry, we got a dog next to me chewing on herself. But yeah, you don't want to be drawing your basics against a deck like this because Max is going to extract them. But right now, I believe that is a demolition field that we're seeing enter on Max's side. Okay, so Wrath of the Skies here is going to clean up both of those Nethergoyfs. Because he did have to have an answer there, and he had it. So he's going to go up to 1 energy, or maybe go up to 2 energy, spend 1, bank 1. Would imply that he doesn't have anything else to do with that single extra mana that he would have left behind. So just banking an energy for later. I think he also plays Galvanic Discharge. So, alright, Jeff's going to have to see if he can rebuild that board. It looks like a Thoughtseize, a land, and a 3rd card in his hand that I cannot recognize. I don't see. Okay, so we see a Galvanic Discharge, a Cleansing Wildfire, a Plains, and a Sunken Citadel. Sunken Citadel, interesting card alongside the likes of Demolition Field and Field of Ruin. We're going to take the Discharge, go down to 11 on Jeff's side. Looks like maybe we have an escape of another Nethergoyf. So he's going to have to get rid of 4 types out of his yard. So we might hit land, maybe the Tarfire and then the Street Wraith because he's got a 2nd creature. So you can get rid of that one and not lose out on types. Should leave him with 3 types in the yard instead of 4. So that Nethergoyf can kill in 2 hits, but he cannot escape the other one, both because he doesn't have 3 more mana, and he no longer has 4 types in the yard, and you conveniently have to get rid of 4 types in order to do that. So it's like an Unholy Heat is the card left in Jeff's hand. So we're going to see Cleansing Wildfire show up. Looks like that is an admission of no more basics in the deck for Jeff. No search. I'm going to see a fetch down to 10. See if there's a... Nope, no more surveillance either. Only 2 of those. So just getting a land out of there. Now he's sitting on hoping this Nethergoyf just can get 2 attack steps in, go the distance. Right now, Max does not have an answer in hand. Finds a Cecil, another threat. It's interesting to see if he decides to deploy it or not. Oops. Okay, so he does, which then opens him up to another Wrath of the Skies potentially, but is much better in the face of a spot removal spell. So that's kind of one of the things you have to balance there in those types of situations. Do you deploy your second threat to make you better against spot removal and keep the clock a little bit faster? But in doing so, you make yourself worse to sweepers. What is that card? So we see a Castle Ardenvale show up. So Max could potentially go the make some blockers line. If he wants, looks like he's gonna use that Sunken Citadel ability, 2 mana. If you're using it to activate the ability of a land, hits a Raucous Theater, so he's gonna do that. So that's what Sunken Citadel is good at. Is if you have abilities of lands you would like to utilize, then you can reduce those costs a little bit there. But that does not change the math of dead on board. It's not quite both threats lethal yet. Only the Nethergoyf is lethal at the moment. So this 1 blocker from a Castle Ardenvale does let Max live for another turn. I believe that'll make it so he's probably only on the Wrath of the Skies plan, but the Unholy Heat does wrap that up, and we'll head to game 2. All right, we just fast forwarded through their sideboarding, so we are back for game 2. So Max will be on the play this time. Looks like both players are looking at 7 cards at the moment. Don't believe any mulligans have been declared on either side yet. Looks like we got a White Ochred Phantom. Is that a Path to Exile? I can't remember all the different arts of cards. So it looks like we are just keeping 7. Start on a Sunken Citadel for Max. Over to Jeff. Mishra's Bauble into the hand. I see a Cecil. Those 2 Kolaghan's commands, maybe? Whew. So we're going to cycle a Street Wraith, see what's up. We go Blood Crypt. Puts Jeff down to 16, and a Cecil hits the board. Is he going to follow up with that Bauble? I think there's no other synergies with Bauble in this deck besides it's another type for Nethergoyf. So it looks like an upkeep. Bauble. Check and see what's going on. Reading the card. It looks like a Magnetic Hellkite. 4 mana, 4/5 flyer, I believe. Destroy a non-basic land when it ETBs. So on to turn 2 for Max here. Is that a Celestial Purge, maybe? Gosh. I can't tell what cards are what. I don't recognize enough of them. That is a Celestial Purge, alright. So, Cecil gets banished to the Shadow Realm. Bauble draw remembered. And then the draw for the turn. We got a follow-up there. Looks like a Nethergoyf, another threat, ready to be deployed. I don't see a fetch in Jeff's hand, so he can't make it a 3-power Goyf yet, but 2/3 at the moment. Follow up with the Raucous Theater could get the job done. And there it is. There's a land. I believe he has at least 2 other lands in hand. See what looks like a Blood Crypt and an Arena of Glory. Oh, and a mountain. Man, drawing those pesky basics. Mountain on Max's side, 1 land away from that Hellkite. That is... Oh, that's Rest in Peace. Okay, so the Nethergoyf is no longer going to be effective, and that Kolgon's command is not looking to change that either. 0-1 Nethergoyf now. Fear of Missing Out drawn. All right. If I remember the makeup of Jeff's deck, it's Nethergoyf, Cecil, Fear of Missing Out are his threats. So with Nethergoyfs being severely reduced in power, looks like we're going to see an Exert, giving that Fear of Missing Out haste. So he's going to discard a Mountain. Oh, and Dragon's Rage Channeler. I forgot about Channeler. So 2 of Jeff's threats severely reduced in power. Then he's going to get in there for 2, but that Arena of Glory will not untap next turn. So now we have Max down to 18. Demolition Field enters the way. So he's going to have to use this Demolition Field to get a second red source for that Hellkite that we do not see. So the Arena of Glory is going to get hit by the Demo Field. Both players will search for a basic. Demolition Field is an optional search. But as Jeff does still have that Swamp lingering in that library, he's going to go get it. We saw him discard the Mountain with the Fear of Missing Out, so that is his last basic. It's like either players thinking, maybe discussing something, maybe we distracted them with a different conversation. Looks like we've got Castle Ardenvale Plains, that Hellkite we know about, and that might be the oh gosh, I'm blanking out again. White Orchid Phantom might be the card in hand. I'm gonna see the Fear of Missing Out get in there again. Even this up 16 all. Looks like we're gonna maybe have a shock of a Blood Crypt in. And that Dragon's Rage Channeler is gonna hit the battlefield. Can never get Delirium. Just a 1/1 that will surveil. And Holy Heat, double K command. Alright, so we see the Hellcat enter. That 4/5 is actually going to prove to be difficult for Jeff to manage. His Unholy Heats cannot get Delirium, and so he has just a slew of 2 damage abilities. He uses a slew of shocks. And one of those Blood Crypts goes down. Does the Hellkite might allow a player to search. So interestingly enough, if the Hellkite says you have to search, even if you don't have a basic, you just have to shuffle your library. Because you have to look at it, say, okay, I don't have anything, shuffle. That only really comes into play if you have some ordering of things, if you scried, or if you're close to recently had a mulligan and you put a card on the bottom, those types of things. But notably, just because there are times that we know the order of our libraries, that the mandatory shuffles on something like Magmatic Hellkite do make it so that we have to, you do have to shuffle sometimes. Alright, so looks like the Channeler and the Fear of Missing Out are getting in there. Jeff doesn't have enough mana to turn that attack into a... Oh, he does. He drew Tarfire. So he's going to Tarfire the Hellkite and then Unholy Heat it to deal 5 total damage. Costly way to have to deal with an opposing creature, but he didn't have any other way to get it off the battlefield, so he kind of has to. And we see players even at 14 apiece. Castle Ardenvale gets in there. That's going to make it really tough in the long game for Jeff to fight his way through if he doesn't find another threat, because Max is going to just be able to make... Oof. All right, Wrath of the Sky is going to sweep up that board. Interesting that his Wrath of the Skies hits enchantments. So if that was done for 2, then we might see a slight misplay here. The Rest in Peace should be gone as well, which might make a difference in this game. But then the White Orchid Phantom's going to come in, because then this Fear of Missing Out would be able to have Delirium, potentially. So I believe that Rest in Peace should be gone. But, you know, sometimes you miss things. This is one of the things that makes Magic so tough is you have to know so many cards and exactly what they do. And I think that Rest in Peace is maybe a little bit forgotten over there on the other side. You know, the fact that Jeff is down to just a single basic might make whether or not the Rest in Peace is in play not matter too much, because he's not going to be able to cast too many cards very easily. He currently cannot cast either card in his hand, in fact, and he is now being face down with a ever-growing slew of 1/1 soldiers out of the lands for Max. He's doing the super villain finger tap of Glee. And it looks like that is going to be a concession. So that's what we're going to see. That's how this match is going to finish out. Is our red-white land destruction is going to exact its toll against the red-black aggressively slanted mid-range deck. So, all right, we'll be back in another video with the second match here. Once again, if you watched all the way through, thanks for dealing with the slightly choppy video. As always, I'm trying to slightly improve things as we go, but, you know, it's sometimes a learning process as we go, figuring out. Maybe I made the mistake of having something else in the background running at the same time as the video processing. So, oh, you can't see it because I went away from the video, but my dog made an appearance in the corner of the screen. I'm sorry you might have missed that. But we'll be back with another basement FNM match here in our next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you next time.